All right, welcome to another Pro Football Doc Sports Injury Central podcast here. It's Christmas week. Happy holidays. Jacob's here, Taylor, Justin's lurking. I'm somehow waiting for Christmas music to chime in from him.
We should have some, right?
From
Yeah.
his soundboard. I don't know what aren't you the sound guy, Justin? Aren't you supposed to have some of that stuff? Aren't you an audio guy?
Give me a few minutes. I'll get back to you on that.
Wow, you're not ready?
So you're not prepared.
No,
is what
I'm
you're
sorry.
saying, yeah.
He's our everything guy. He's our graphics guy, sound guy, video guy, all that stuff.
Don't worry. I see on your guys' podcast you're doing live streams. You got this, you got sound, you got all these graphics, and what do we get here, Justin? We get nothing.
Hey, you just tell me what you want. I'm in. I'll make it. I'll make it happen.
He wants snow falling on the video or something like that.
Oh, all right. I got you.
Little Santa hat.
Well, you could just sing.
Yeah.
Oh, no, see, I can't do that. See, that's the thing is I'm not like a performer. I like
a
to
producer.
assist. I
Yeah.
assist the people who perform, like you right now on your podcast.
So he's asking you to sing, Doc.
Yes. So now you sing.
And then he can make it sound good. Yeah.
All right. So a lot going on. It's week 15, almost over, going into week 16. We got lots to talk about here.
What a crazy week. I mean, I know we're focused on injuries, but I can't remember a time where two games finished on weird rules at the end like that, like the Patriots Raiders, obviously the last play at the end, but the Keelan Cole, is he out, is he in? And then today we see a picture that, oh, he was in. It's just a weird boundary painting that they have a lighter white and then the actual out of bounds.
Who made that decision?
I mean, the Raiders.
Yeah, well,
somewhere.
they usually make bad ones, so I get it.
No, you know what? Situational football. I mean,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I guess we could start with it. The anti-beast of the week.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, forget the Jacoby Myers throwback, but I mean, sure, Justin will show it. Everyone's seen it. What do we call that maneuver from Mac Jones? The cockroach? I mean, he's on
The
his
new
back.
dance move,
and,
yeah.
That's why I was watching it live. I was like, that's generous to call it a stiff arm because Mac Jones was already halfway on the ground when he put a hand on him. So
look, I get it. It's hard for a quarterback to
unexpected,
bring him
boom.
down,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And it's a defensive end.
Right.
But I don't care if you Jeff Van Gundy his leg. All right. You got to do something. I mean, better than
Just jump on his back. That would slow him down enough. Hunter Henry was busting down the field. He could have caught him.
So you're saying getting Mac Jones drug all the way
who
down to the
who
1
was
yard
it
line
that
is better.
who was Jeff Van Gundy's on? Who was that on? Remember that?
Yeah.
Was it Matumbo or something? I don't remember, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Twitter knows. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
At least Jeff Van Gundy his leg or something, right? I mean, do something. I mean, that was bad. At least he was in the frame. I don't know. I mean, that was really bad. Not situational football. That's
Alonzo
Mourning.
Yes,
that's what it was.
yes,
I know
yes.
somebody big.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, it was injury based. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson started that play, and he was kind of surprise active in 19 carries for 172 and a touchdown. Better than Damian Harris, I guess. I don't know if that's the Raider defense. He clearly wasn't 100%. He wasn't making decisive cuts up the field, but
I mean, injury based. You might have do a concussion check. I don't know what the whole throwback stuff was. I mean, I don't know. I mean, interesting. And then the Sunday night game. Never heard of that. Okay, look, having been on the NFL sidelines, it's routine for a wide receiver to look at the line judge and go, hey, am I good? And then on, off, and get a signal. And it seemed like he did that. And
the line judge pointed back at him, and he
still
scooted
threw
up.
the flag.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the play. I don't think it's reviewable, but
just lets an anticlimactic ending. It's like, oh, they got the touchdown, they need the 2-point, and then it's like, oh, never mind, they're back.
Did anyone get an explanation? Did the pool reporter ask that question?
I haven't seen anything on that. Yeah. The only thing I think they could say is that he scooted up, but he didn't scoot up enough. Because it didn't look like he was on the line, but he only looked at the line judge once and he pointed back to him. So he thought he was good. He didn't need to look back and say, oh, did I scoot up enough?
Yeah,
it's really weird.
There was stuff on Twitter saying that like he always had his hand ready to throw that he was going to do it, but like
it didn't look like
how
it.
normally they are. They're ready to throw the flag, right? I mean,
yeah, and then the non-PI.
Right, 2 plays later on the 4th down.
come on, that's
They're not calling PI nearly as often this year. It seems like they're letting it go on the offense too. They're always hand fighting and grabbing.
I
and stuff
thought
like
Terry
that.
McCauley was good about it. He said, "Look, if it's a foul in the first minute, it's foul in the final minute." But
it's
my
true.
point there, what you have to understand is the camera angle from the front clearly pass interference. But you have to understand it's the side judge or the field judge that is looking from behind the defender. I don't know that you really have perspective. Like, when you're behind the defender,
You don't know where his hands are, if they're wrapped around or if they're just to the sides.
So, and the field is divided up into sections, and I think it was a perspective thing. You only have one set of eyes on that because there's so many receivers and what have you. Literally, you divide the field into to what your responsibility is. And I think the guys responsible from the backside just can't see that as clearly as from the front side. But anyways,
it is interesting just thinking about what the refs have in front of them versus camera angles. Like going back to the Raiders one, it's a photographer that snapped it right at the sideline. That was the view that everyone needed to see. That's not a television camera. That's just the sideline photographer. So interesting how that whole review process plays out. But we'll look ahead to Week 16. Obviously, there's the vaunted Baker Mayfield and Aaron Rodgers matchup tonight. So you can check out the field view at sixscore.com for that. David Bakhtiari's out with his appendix. So that's an interesting one. How that affects the line and everything.
I mean, no offense, but has David Bakhtiari been in this season? I mean,
yeah.
He's been right there the whole time. I mean, he's always been kind of out the whole season, hasn't he? I mean,
yeah,
that's why we shorted him.
I think actually the better news is the improvement of Elton Jenkins. He's obviously played much better from his ACL
on
tear.
the other side of the line, yeah.
And the one big thing about him, he moves from right tackle, guard, everything. He's played like left guard, right tackle this year, so that's good for helping.
I think Bakhtiari's kind of a non-factor in or out. He really hasn't been the guy.
Yeah.
And Jenkins getting better has helped, and that's why we say the Packers are in the right direction. And they even returned Romeo Dobbs today.
Yeah.
And look, when Dobbs was last healthy, there was no one knew who Christian Watson was.
Right. He was doing the Watson stuff. Yeah.
Nobody knew. So that's going to be interesting tonight. But that's why we shorted the Packers, right? For their offensive line from the beginning of the season, and they're under their 10.5 wins. They have, 8 losses already, so they can't make the.
Well, that's been the benefit of the field views to me, just looking at it for DFS and fantasy and stuff. Like the Cardinals had the stat yesterday, the right tackle Kelvin Beachum was the only one to start for either team. So every game for either team, the Broncos are the Cardinals. So he was the last remaining lineman. He got hurt, but he had to come back in because
it kind of opens up why Kyler might have had a bad year this year. We always blame him. Oh, he's down this year just before the ACL. But it's like, no, that you have the offensive line lead. It's just like Tom Brady's been dealing with all year. Like, it's hard to play like Matt Stafford was before. We talked about the Rams. It's hard to play when 3-4 guys of your 5 offensive line are injured.
I had Kyler on the list for us to get to, but let's jump into it. Not exactly coach speak, but there's reports coming out that it's a, quote, clean ACL tear, even though he has to get his meniscus stitched. We go to you to that for Doc. Is there ever a clean ACL tear? Is this how does this rank?
Okay, I mean,
I just think of like scissors. Like, is it just like cutting? What do you mean it's not clean?
Clean,
it's just it's ripped, right?
Clean as opposed to dirty? No, I don't think that's how it means.
It's like how do you only tear one ligament and not damage anything else in there?
Well, I think it's possible to have what medically we call it isolated. Okay, so the vernacular late term might be clean, but I don't know. This sounds like agent speak. I mean,
it's what the kids say. It's clean. That's kind of like slang a little bit.
It's never a catastrophic.
Medically, all I can say is this. Medically, no doctor, no orthopedic surgeon would say it's a clean ACL tear. We might have to put some stitches into the meniscus.
Okay.
Doesn't make sense.
Contradictory, right?
Yeah, it's contradictory. First of all, medically, you wouldn't use the term clean. Okay, maybe if you're trying to speak lay language to someone, a doctor might say clean. But if you said clean, then you wouldn't. Look, you're looking for associated injuries. You don't have any associated ligament injury. That's good news. But if you have an associated bone bruise, cartilage injury, articular cartilage injury, or meniscus cartilage injury, you wouldn't call it clean. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the report is it has to be stitched means And by the way, as a doctor, you would never say stitch.
Suture. You say suture.
You'd
right?
say suture or repair.
Sorry.
You wouldn't say stitch. Okay.
Yeah.
Doctor in training, Taylor.
Yeah.
I was in my head. I've been waiting for you to say that. I was like, I knew this.
It's a meniscus repair.
Right.
That in and of itself is a 6-month timeline.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is after a quote clean or isolated ACL, you would allow early weight bearing and full range of motion. You don't with a meniscus repair. You either have non-weight bearing or limited range of motion. This will slow down Kyler Murray's recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make it impossible for Kyler Murray to be ready to play week 1? No, but it adds to the difficulty. We've already said that we do not expect Kyler Murray, even without the word of the meniscus repair. We did not expect Kyler Murray to be back to Kyler Murray 100% week 1. Could he play week 1 more from the pocket, less mobile, less dynamic? I think it's still possible, but it remains to be seen. With this news of the meniscus repair, it makes it more difficult. So if you ask the question, can Kyler Murray be 100% week 1 next season? No. Period. End of discussion. Can Kyler Murray play week 1? Yeah, sure. It's possible that he could play, but will he if he's not close to 100% or isn't as mobile? But this meniscus tear requiring a repair, and they're not even doing surgery immediately, which is not unusual. They're trying to get down some swelling.
Yep, yeah.
The clock doesn't start till you do the surgery. So, yeah, it's starting to look like that he won't be there the start of week 1.
And the play style doesn't help too, like you said, right? Like if it was a Rivers, we always go back to Rivers, but if it's Rivers, probably week 1's more of a option,
Rivers was a beast, but he's also not a mobile guy.
Correct,
and if you Google it, I think I did Rivers' surgery late January. And there was an ESPN article 100 days later, he was participating in minicamp.
Right.
And he had a 102 or 103 quarterback rating that year, his highest to date, played all games that year. But he plays from the pocket, so he's never been accused of being mobile. Although I'll let you know this: the players on the team, Phillip worked pretty hard in rehab, and the players on the team gave him a hard time, saying that they were giving him a hard time. They're saying, "What did Chow do to you? you're faster now than you were before." And of course, I'd say, well, that probably speaks more to how slow he was before than anything else. Now he's rehabbed and worked at it. When you rehab your torn ACL, you rehab the other leg too, right? And so the joke was in the locker room that Phillip took off his army boots. Prior to that, it was like he ran in army boots.
Yep. That's funny.
But he still wasn't fleet of foot.
Sure,
it is what it is. But obviously Kyler Murray is different. And the question is not only if he's not mobile, but he's not the biggest guy in the world, passing lanes and other things. So it'll be interesting to see. But there's no way it was a quote isolated or clean. That vernacular has been botched there. So but not hating on Kyler. And then we talked about during the week too,
just laying out the path for him.
Not blaming anyone on the Cardinals staff, not blaming Kyler. You remember he had a week 9 hamstring injury. He missed some games, including the Mexico City game, and he played one game. They had a bye, and this was his second game back. If you're doing ACL prevention rehab or training, part of it is your hamstring to keep the knee from shifting. Mm-hmm. So if his hamstring was a little bit weaker, maybe it was a contributing factor. This is on grass in Arizona, the heralded roll in, roll out field. So this wasn't a turf issue. 70-80% of the injuries are non-contact for ACL in the NFL. So good luck to Kyler, but I'm just saying it's a high bar to be ready and 100%.
Just another name to throw in there. Joe Burrow, November 22nd, 2020 ACL tear. Came back week 1, but was sacked 50 times, right? He wasn't as mobile, wasn't willing to go outside the pocket, all that stuff. So
now if you pull out I was going to say newspaper clippings, nobody does that anymore. Do your Google searches. remember all the consternation in the preseason? Is he going to take a snap? He didn't play this game. Oh, he took one snap. And is he going to be ready week 1? And that's for Joe Burrow, who was mostly in the pocket. Now, Joe Burrow's pretty mobile, but I think
it's not part of his game, though.
It's not part of the primary game to run.
Right.
He's escapable. He's mobile, but and he wasn't that mobile. And so Kyler's going to have a harder time. Oh, you guys like the little snow effect now?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I like that. Anyone watching on the YouTube?
I smiled immediately. I want to get the recording. I
saw it. So yeah, you can see this. Obviously, you can watch the full podcast on our YouTube channel, Sports Injury Central. You should subscribe over there if you're listening on via podcast. But yeah, you can see what's going on in the studio there. And I just gave you a little snow background there. And if you want some music, it's available. I got it ready to go.
Feels like we're in Buffalo.
Uh-oh, what's that? Oh man, it's all happening right now.
You gave him a challenge, Doc. He had to rise to the occasion.
I know.
I was thinking in my head it better not be just the background. He was gone for a little longer than I thought.
I feel like I'm at Radio City Music Hall in the Rockettes again.
There you
go. It was like stereo surround sound.
All right, back to the regularly scheduled program.
That's a good segue. Let's get to some big things we're looking for at Christmas Eve. Obviously, all the Sunday games are on Saturday now, so that'll be a big, big shift.
Starting this Saturday, week 15, football is every Saturday for the rest of the season until the conference championship games. Which I think, are they both on Saturday? I think they're both on Saturday.
Did week 18, do they flex some games to Saturday, or is it all Sunday at the same time?
I think there's Saturday football the rest of the season at this point in time.
I'm seeing a bunch of games that are 2BD, and that last time I talked on this, I was wrong. Saturday, so I'm trying to be calm here.
Anyways, there's the big slate's on Saturday.
Correct.
We'll be in the war room on Saturday.
Which means tomorrow is the big day, not Wednesday, for injury reports to start.
Yes, that's another thing in terms of people who are making decisions or wagers and information. Tuesday is Wednesday, so to speak.
Right.
Wednesday is Thursday.
I'm already getting confused.
Believe it or not, that's how teams do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they'll literally, let's say yesterday, they'll say Monday's an off day. We're going to treat it like Tuesday. And they're going to say Tuesday is like a regular season Wednesday. I mean, that's what they do for when it's a Thursday game. They say Monday is Wednesday, blah, blah, blah.
Well, let me give you some big names, Doc, and you can tell us what to expect from him starting Tuesday. Lamar Jackson missed 2 weeks with a knee PCL sprain. This week is what he's always said he and the team have been targeting for him to return against the Falcons. They play on Christmas Eve. What did you put his chances at versus Tyler Huntley again?
We knew when he hurt his knee that this was a multi-week injury. It's been multi-weeks. We said at that time, the best case scenario, if it's mild, is a Christmas Eve return. So here we are. This is the best case scenario if he can do it. I don't think it's a guarantee that he will play yet. We all know the Ravens play coy with Lamar, and they did it last December with the ankle bone bruise. They're doing it right now. Right now, his 6 score is in the 60s. I'm not sure he plays.
67 is what we have on the site. Yeah.
I'm not sure he plays. And if he plays, I'm not sure he's 100%. We'll have to see. I'm not sure that he plays right now. But this week, I guess you could start Lamar watch. The first 2 weeks, there wasn't even anything to watch.
It didn't hit the practice field at all. So, yeah, he's going to be out there practicing. We'll see what he looks like if we get some video.
Well, he's playing another bird in the Falcons, right, which arguably not a great game for him to really need to play. But the next game he plays the Steelers, which is a key division battle. And then week 18, they have the Bengals, another key division battle. So if you want to look at the schedule, it might be nice to sit him against the Falcons and have him ready for those 2 division games.
I mean, if I had to put a grade on him playing, I would have said the last 2 weeks out. This week, I guess I'd say doubtful, but not impossible to play. Doubtful.
Maybe a little questionable or just straight
doubtful.
Yeah? Okay.
I mean, let's see some practice.
Yeah,
sure.
But I would.
Might improve during the week. Check back on the site. But yeah.
My gut says doubtful. And next week becomes questionable. And the following week, I know we got rid of probables, but would be probable.
Right.
That would be, like I said all along, this Christmas game was the best case scenario, not the expected scenario.
Right.
Ryan Tannehill dealt with both ankle injuries all season. This last one in the loss to the Chargers looked to be the worst of them. Came back, right ankle he had week 9, I believe, and he missed 2 weeks after that, even though he came back into that game. This is a Saturday game, so 1 day less recovery. Are we 100% seeing Tannehill under center? Is it a little iffy?
Well, it depends on how much swelling there is. I mean, his ankle sprain had a high component. He's tough. He finished the game. He was taped up, didn't move much. I mean, he probably was injected. We'll see. I mean, Malik Willis hasn't shown a lot. So the Titans have lost, 4 straight?
They're playing Texans, so it helps. But
okay.
Yeah.
Well, the Texans give the Chiefs a game.
And Titans keep losing pieces in the secondary and on
the Titans
linebacker.
defense.
Do you guys remember the key part about Derrick Henry and the Texans? That he gets 200 yards every single game he plays?
It's like 4 straight.
Yeah,
right?
his prop when the last time they played Texans, it was like 110. I was like, that's never a prop that high. Then I looked at that. I was like, oh, I get it. And he got 200 very easily. So that's one to watch. Maybe they don't need to throw a lot.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I think, it could be a coach's decision that way, but no, I mean, it's a high ankle sprain. We'll see how much it swells, see how much he can do.
Is it good for a rookie too to have this week of preparation more than getting thrown into the middle of the game? Maybe they can design a game plan to beat a 1-win team.
Look, first of all, it's the NFL. There are no
easy weeks.
It's not Alabama versus San Diego State, like you say. I know you always say that.
Come on, dude.
So
you got to get a different college.
There's no homecoming games, where you schedule the patsy opponent.
Right.
Come on, we got a bowl game against Middle Tennessee. It's a big game. So.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying that look, the Texans gave all the Cowboys wanted the week before.
Right.
The Chiefs, they took them down to the
two
wire.
of the better teams.
The Texans are playing well, playing hot. So it's not a given. You're not going to walk through.
It's the NFL. It's not a given in any given week what's out there. So I don't think you can take that for granted. But it does. Do I think Malik Willis will get the majority of the snaps this week? 100% I do. The question is, does Tannehill play? And it depends on how much swelling. And we'll have to see.
That might be the first game that we have 4 quarterbacks in the game. Because remember, they're doing Davis Mills and Driscoll. Maybe they do a little Tannehill and Malik Willis. So you have a little college football game like we were just talking about.
Right in time for bowl season.
Yes.
I mean, I don't mind that. I get it. It's
run play,
college and whatever.
But it's worth it for the play action and then a little boot with Malik Willis. You don't need to trust him to throw 25 times.
It can work in the NFL or
okay.
I think it's very old school to think only one quarterback do this for each position.
Well, think about this. I mean, back in the day, every running back was a 3-down running back.
Right. There's no backup.
And it was, I can't come out. I need to get the flow of the game and whatever.
Right.
Okay. Well, how many 3-down running backs are there in the NFL now? Very few, if any.
Yeah.
And defensively, you have the pass rush specialist and the nickel corner. Okay, offensive linemen don't get switched, but you certainly have the pass catching wide receiver, the jumbo package tight end, the blocking this, that,
that's good
at
running pat. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think it potentially made sense. I mean, back in the day when I was like with the Chargers, I was like, no offense here. I mean, this is even before Phillip was really in the mix and playing, but we had Drew Brees and Doug Flutie. If it's a 2-point conversion, do you want a mobile Doug Flutie or do you want Drew Brees?
No, it makes
Just
sense.
a question.
Yeah, no, you make sense.
If it's 3rd and 12, do you want Doug Flutie or Drew Brees? Right. Maybe Drew, right? I mean, depending on the situation, you add the threat. And it's kind of what New Orleans does with Taysom Hill a little bit. I mean, they're not the same player, but I back in the day, it made sense because that you didn't do that because the quarterbacks actually called the plays,
right?
And they're like, I can't not get in the flow of what's happening. No quarterback calls the plays. They're all radioed in. I mean, there's a check with me, there's an override, there's an audible, but they're not calling plays anymore. So I don't think it's impossible.
There's so many specialty positions you said right now. Like every position has a specialty. There's not just one person.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible to do that. But probably the biggest prevention of that is the salary cap stuff. Once you pay one guy, you want to use them, But anyways,
that makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, take advantage of different talents, especially if you're not sure who you have or what the deal is.
Right.
Let's talk the Thursday game, something we've been detailing on the site since last week. Jets coming off a loss to the Lions. Jaguars beat the Cowboys in overtime. So Jaguars 6-8, Jets 7-7, big playoff matchup.
Jags are in it, right? Wild card-ish, yeah.
Jags are in it. any chance we see Mike White? Robert Saleh is kind of leaving some outside chance that he gets cleared.
Wilson played well last week, but from an injury standpoint,
over 300 yards.
Yeah.
So he had his inevitable pick, but he's getting better.
That was like a very bet thing this weekend for sure.
Look, Mike White was not cleared for contact 7 days after multiple rib fractures. Are the rib fractures going to heal by the 11th day? He's not playing on Thursday.
Right. Short turnaround doesn't help in any way. Yeah.
Even if it were the second week, it'd be iffy. But the short turnaround, I don't see how it would make sense for a doctor to say, you're not safe at 7 days, but now at 11, you're safe.
How do you cut it off like that? Yeah.
I just don't see it.
And Mike White provided the details himself. He said the doctors told him if he gets hit in the wrong spot, it could damage his lungs, and there's stuff that the ribs are protecting, obviously. So if they're not protecting that, then that's vulnerable.
Their next game's New Year's Day, so I mean that's a lot of time for
The following game is realistic,
right?
Because it's actually 21 days
right
since the Buffalo game.
Correct. Yes,
and that's probably enough time to get early healing where the doctor would feel comfortable. Now, when Mike Williams detailed is real, like we talk about rib block injections, you're okay, but when it's multiple rib segments, then the whole side of your chest could collapse
right
with a hit. That's what they're saying.
That was like the Drew Brees a little bit, right? I know that was a little exaggerated. I remember you didn't think there was I think they said like there was 100 broken ribs. I don't remember the
details.
No, I remember you looking at that and you're like, there is no way he played, his lungs would have, or his ribs would have collapsed. Yeah. But
but the bottom line is if he can't be not safe on Sunday and safe on Thursday. That's not happening when you're talking about lungs and stuff. And multiple ribs makes the rib cage unstable. It's almost like a flail chest or whatever kind of situation. So Zach Wilson again.
I could argue maybe Mike White doesn't get his job back either. Just want to put that on record.
Because
I like the way Zach Wilson looked.
Because if the Jets get eliminated from the playoffs, why would you go back to Mike White? I don't know.
I think the Jets are in it. But I think
I'm trying to read Taylor's brain, which is not a good,
it's
not a good practice.
No, I think Zach Wilson looked good enough to continue having his job back. I hope it wasn't like, oh, he's getting benched forever. I think it was just, oh, Mike White's playing better than you. But everybody loses their job due to injury. It happens. So
I don't want you as a head coach. One game and he's already back in the fold.
I mean, if he plays bad on Thursday,
they benched him after like 4 straight bad games.
Yeah, I guess he needs 2 more in a row, guys.
I can't do the math there.
Look, I don't know.
I like what I saw, but no, I get you guys. I understand.
Obviously, I didn't watch that game enough. I wasn't that overly impressed.
The Lions. The Lions haven't stopped anybody.
I liked what I saw.
I won't go there any further.
I got some good coach speak for you, Doc. I like this one when I read it on Twitter. Todd Bowles said Tristan Wirfs is closer to returning than Vita Vea.
Okay.
That was kind of a no duh for me. I was like, yeah, Wirfs high ankle 3 weeks ago. Vita Vea just strained his calf a week ago. So
and calves aren't good for the. Remember, Quinnen Williams is dealing with it as well. It's not good for
Quinnen Williams, Vita Vea, Sam Hubbard.
Yep.
They just said Sam Hubbard's out through the rest of the season.
So that's a big thing for the Bengals because they have Trey Hendrickson, remember, with the broken hand. So they wrist. So they have both. That's their top pass rushers, and they already have a Awuzie out. That's their number 1 corner. So the Bengals are starting to pick up these Reds going into the playoffs, which is something to watch.
Yeah. So.
Talking about Jacksonville too, we forgot left tackle Cam Robinson, MCL sprain with a meniscus component.
So the meniscus, they're saying he's going to get scoped.
That's the bigger deal. Yeah.
He's for sure out Thursday. That's for sure.
And then the right tackle pulled a hamstring, came back into the game late, but that's an interesting situation to watch for Trevor Lawrence too. That's the 2 bookends. So
yeah, that's big.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. That'll be interesting. So going back to the Bucs, Tristan Wirfs, Vita Vea. Let me ask you this question: 6-8 team right now. They're in first place.
Everyone else is 5-9 in that division.
Okay.
Every single one, all 3.
So let me ask you this question: if the winner of the division is 7-10, do they get to win the division and be in the playoffs, or should they and host a playoff game?
Technically, yes, but no, they shouldn't. You're right.
Okay. What if they're 8-9?
They should. No one. I get what you're getting at. No one under 500 should be doing it.
I propose that I like the division setups, but you have to be over 500 to win the division. If you're not 9-8 to win the division, make a fourth wild card spot.
Right. Yeah.
Assuming that fourth wild card spot has a better record than 9-8.
Well, in the NFC, you got Dallas, who's not going to get a home game. They're 10-4. You got the Niners will get a home game 10-4, but Detroit could sneak in. Seattle maybe. Giants are 8-5-1. So, yeah.
I mean,
there's a lot better teams than the Bucs currently, record-wise.
And if all the teams in a division are not great and they're playing each other and the records aren't great, it's almost like a bowl game, right? If you're not 500, you can't qualify for a bowl game.
And that's a good, like, just straight line. That's
Straight
good.
line.
No, like, you got to be 6. Like, there's so many 6-6 teams, and they're fighting for that because they know, you know what I mean? It's something to fight for.
Now, I do remember a San Diego Chargers team that finished, we were 4-8. We won the last 4.
No, we talked about this team. Yeah.
8-8, and we
Yep.
did qualify. But at least we were 500. We
Yeah.
qualified for the bowl.
Yeah.
If you're under 500, you shouldn't be able to win.
No,
the
I
division.
was telling you guys yesterday there's a good Raider stat. The only team ever to finish 8-8, but they were not only team. They were 6-0 in their division, but 8-8, and they missed the playoffs. Only team ever. That just seems like a Raider thing to do. But
And you make a good point because you shouldn't, if you win 2 more games in Tampa Bay, you shouldn't have to go to Tampa Bay and face them at home. I know they're
It's
they're
supposed to be
bad
an
right now, but they're a little bit of a
advantage.
scary team.
Yeah.
That's Tampa Bay getting an advantage, even though they have a worse record. So
I'd go one step further. If Tampa's 8-9, maybe they should make the playoffs. I mean, especially if you've got another team that's
if you have a 9-8 team in the AFC, just switch them over.
If you're 8-9, should you make the playoffs over a 10-7 team? I'd
No.
argue no.
No,
if
not
you
at
have
all.
Tom Brady, then yes.
That's the only
If I'm
thing.
the NFL.
If Green Bay was the situation, I'd argue Aaron Rodgers gets this little nudge too. But
Who's more marketable, Tampa Bay or the Commanders?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and Steph Curry made those 5 half-court shots and or 3/4 court shots, according to you. So
Haven't seen any evidence otherwise.
and Tom Brady throws the ball into a jugs machine and it fires back out. Yeah.
Do you know so many people thought that was real too? I got so many like, oh, look at Tom Brady. I can't believe this. I was like, come on. Like,
Right
"Yeah,
here
I
is
know."
Steph Curry.
I'm biased. I'm fully biased. It's all right. He
know-
can't make it right now.
I called him out Drew Brees and the Lightning, so we're
Yeah,
we're all bad. Doc.
You weren't
We're
the
1-1.
only one. Even last night for the late games, I had a friend over and he's a former professional athlete. He thought the Curry thing was real.
Yeah.
He goes, you don't know how good these guys are. I'm like,
Deep fakes. It's tough.
I just knew that everybody knows he's so good. That's the one thing I got out of it is that he's so good that you think it's real, but it's like
that's why they did
I
it.
get
Yeah.
that. I get it. I didn't think it was, but I didn't. But I was like, I get it. I get what their thought
fair.
process is.
Let's talk big division matchup next week. Eagles and Cowboys on Christmas Eve. Leighton Vander Esch is an interesting injury to come out of that last game. There's reports that they believe is a stinger after an MRI, nothing to do with his previous neck issues.
well, they said shoulder.
Mhm.
Right.
They said nothing to do with neck issues. I'm the one saying maybe stinger.
Mhm.
There's some indication there's a trigger point in his trap or something.
So shoulders near the neck. Yeah. So
Yeah, it has
There's
nothing to do with his neck.
it's near.
Well, stingers are more usually brachial plexus since the nerves that already have left the neck
Okay.
as they head to the shoulder. So I think that may be a little bit of spin to say nothing to do with the neck because they don't want to raise.
Is it weaker? Like his neck is weaker from his past stuff that like a little bump like that makes, or is it
No,
just-
not
just-
necessarily. I mean,
okay.
you could theorize double crush up at the neck and here.
Okay.
Look, we downgraded Leighton Vander Esch coming out of college for the draft.
He has an 84 6 score going in the season just because of that neck.
And-
issue. Yeah.
I'm not trying to jinx the guy, but he is one of the guys who's potentially one play away from career being over because he's had the previous neck surgeries and other issues. He wears the collar.
Right.
And if he gets something else, it could be the end of his career. Thankfully, it's not. And we'll see. Hopefully, he can return to play against the Eagles. You want everyone at full strength.
Absolutely.
Their right tackle situation is pretty interesting too. They're rotating Jason Peters in there. They moved Tyron Smith over because they like Tyler Smith at left tackle, which who would have thought that before the season? But
He's the future there. So yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see how they line up against the Eagles.
Actually,
and who's playing right tackle?
Terrence Steele was their best offensive lineman this year, which was a surprise because that was a little problem spot with Collins being gone. But having Smith over there just to quell that damage, because that was a big loss. If Smith can at least play a little bit right tackle, that's good for them, I think, going forward.
And why are they doing that? Because the rookie, look, he's doing okay at left tackle. To make him switch is a big deal.
Middle of the season, right before
Like
the
routine,
Eagles.
is he like
all
in a
that
routine
stuff,
right now, or is it just like
yeah, but the best, I talked about it on Twitter Live a little bit last night with my friend that was over. He played right tackle.
Okay.
I asked, is this fair? You playing right tackle and then switching to left tackle is equivalent of my being right-handed and making a right-handed layup and then now having to shoot a left-handed layup. You can do it. Some people can do it better than others, but it's completely different.
There's a pause, right?
Well, I mean, look, unless you've done a lot of basketball, the first time you shoot a left-handed layup, you jump off your left foot and you, right? You think, oh, I got to jump off the right foot. That's it, right?
The brain thing's going,
right? But you got to do it a couple times, right? I'm not saying it's impossible. And if you're a really good basketball player, you get it and you can do it. But it's not for everybody, this right and left-handed. And the other analogy I came up with is, look, nowadays it's all entered on computer. I don't write anything anymore.
I write everything still, don't worry.
I'm right-handed.
Yeah.
Can you write with your left hand?
Nope.
Some people can.
I can, but not well.
But not that well. Same thing, right?
I
mean, you're literally, it's that different to go right tackle, left tackle.
For sure.
I mean, on the edge, it's literally that different.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and then Tyler also, I'm going to say Tyler because I put his last name. He doesn't play. He didn't play right much in college. Tyrone has that experience to go back and forth. Obviously, he hasn't gone to right in so many years, but I wouldn't also put Tyler in that position that he's never even played that position in the middle of the season.
A little bit of muscle memory,
yeah.
Going back to that Tampa Bay, they played the Cardinals on Sunday night, Christmas. So Colt McCoy stepped in for Kyler Murray, had a concussion. Been tracking the numbers all season. It's about 22% return in 1 week to get cleared. So more than likely seeing Trace McSorley in that game.
What is it for quarterbacks? I guess I'm sorry I asked you something you don't have. But I would think less percentage, right? Do they want to keep him out?
It's not like it's a game that it's easier to clear. It's just
I remember Brian Hoyer. Hoyer was like, boom, 4 weeks.
I mean, Arizona's officially eliminated, correct?
Correct.
I mean, so we'll see. Or watch Hard Knocks. I don't know. Right. Is it still on?
Let's throw some fantasy names in the picture. Jonathan Taylor dealt with those right ankle troubles all season. They said high ankle, more than likely not seeing him in the rest of the season. We already didn't think he was playing week 16, so it seems like the team's just going a step further.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about December shutdown season. Amazingly enough, as of this airing, do you know how many teams have been eliminated from the playoff contention mathematically?
I want to say like 3.
4 teams only. That's pretty interesting. I mean, there's a lot of teams we think of that are not in it at all, but there's only 4 teams technically.
I think the Rams can get eliminated tonight. I don't know if they've been fully eliminated.
They're still technically in it. I think if they lose tonight, they're eliminated.
Right. And Indy had the tie, or else they would be eliminated.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee's dropping in that division. So,
yeah, exactly.
Tyler
right.
Lockett, Thursday night injury, broken metacarpal in the right hand. So not the finger, or is it the hand? I never can keep those straight.
I mean, technically, medically, fingers, here. Metacarpal is here.
So hand, from what you're pointing to.
In theory, more hand than finger.
And I think we asked you this too in the article, but hand is better than finger?
Hand is better than finger.
Is it still the same fix? You screws and plate?
Screw and plate, there's more room to put a bigger, longer screw and plate on. Mm-hmm. It's more protectable than the fingers. Depends on the finger, though, right? I mean, certain fingers you can buddy tape and whatever. But
obviously out this week against the Chiefs, outside chance to return week 17. He's targeting week 17, so
I think it's not impossible. I think it depends. If it's a non-comminuted fracture, not a lot of pieces.
I think they said spiral fracture.
It's usually spiral, but is there a butterfly fragment? I'm not trying to get to whatever.
I'm like, what?
Think of it this way: if you break off a wooden table leg and it doesn't splinter and shatter,
it's not clean. That's what they say. That's what they're talking about.
If there's good interdigitation, you could almost wood glue or crazy glue it back.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
If there's not good interdigitation, then you need more of the plate. Yeah, so it depends on how. If you're relying only on the plate for stability, he will not play week 17.
Right.
If the plate is adding stability to how the bones line up, then there's a chance he could. Yes,
It's a good analogy because I've like broken furniture before and tried to fix it before my mom came home, and I don't think the digitation was good there because I did not put it together right.
Not an expert furniture surgeon.
Yeah.
No. Well,
Mom always said, "Don't play ball in the house."
Yep, and that's what I was doing. I was diving for a bouncy ball off the wall. That's exactly what happened.
I don't have our futures ready for this week, but we did pretty well in props, bouncing back from a down week the week prior.
We did lock up a couple futures.
7-1 on Sunday, I think, for the player props, and then our futures are looking good in a couple categories, and the others
9-1 we did because adding the
Correct.
Saturday night game. The Vikings was really good. We that's what you're talking about with the low total for the Green Bay.
hand in hand with the Packers.
Was funneled to that because they were super healthy going into the season this year. 9.5 was the total, and plus 240 for the division, which is close.
Which both have hit already.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah.
And with the Ravens loss, I mean, we were on the Bengals for the division, and this is early season when the Bengals weren't doing so well.
Correct.
Even Dobbins' good performance lately, you're not going to get him close to the 875. So
we also have a sick pick in that I was looking at. We forgot. So when Prescott went down, we got Eagles to win the division at plus 140, and it flipped to like minus 120 when that injury happened. So we got it right in the middle of everybody freaking out about it. So that was good to get that because that looks like that is trending too.
Good.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to ask me about my drinking sponsorship here. Like, I'll show.
There you go.
You're not
It's
Chris
not a
Jones with
beer.
the glass bottle. Yeah.
You know, it's amazing social media. Like, we're in the war room here, and I'm sure you guys are saying, why do you want to get a picture of that?
Yeah.
That's what
thought
we
you were
think. Yeah, because
crazy.
we're the deep journalist guys. We're like, ugh, we don't like this TikTok stuff. You know, we don't understand it. You know?
So what? He's drinking water. Who cares?
Yes,
Doc?
yeah.
No, what was weird about it is, first of all, it did look like he was drinking a beer.
It did.
I mean, he had an argument, not argument, heated like discussion with a position coach.
And then he took a swig of a Heineken.
And he took a swig of a green bottle, right? And that, but I was like telling Doug, give me video of that. And I tweeted it. My point was a couple things. First of all, I mean, a glass bottle on the sideline, I've never heard of that before. You're not allowed to have glass bottles at the pool. I mean, right? I mean, there's no glass bottles on a sideline that I've ever seen.
What if someone goes flying into it?
So I don't think anybody knows that. So I didn't think about that either. I'm like, because I know we never seen it before, but I didn't know they were not allowed.
Secondly, you can't have another logo on the sideline.
Right.
Gatorade okay. When you look at all those cups, this half of the table is Gatorade.
Mm-hmm.
This half of the table is water.
Okay.
But they're all in Gatorade cups.
Yep.
The reason why there's two Gatorade things there, one's water, one's Gatorade.
But it still has the logo on. Doesn't matter.
It still has the logo on it. Whether you drink coffee on the sideline and I've told the story in cold weather where we brought out chicken broth, it's in Gatorade cups. Look, if you have a knee brace or elbow brace, the logo needs to be taped over or blacked out. You can't have Donjoy or Bragg or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can wear off-brand shoes if you wanted to, but you have to cover the logo. I mean, you can't. I mean, everything is logo sensitive. You can't have a drink like that on the sideline. Now, I don't know that he's going to get fined or whatever, because in theory, we talked about it. He was ill in the sparkling water, or is it, spring water, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something that was easy on his stomach, and he was staying hydrated with it, and he just brought it out there. But I don't think it was although he got a lot of publicity. This was crazy. You guys hated it. It got 3.5 million views.
Oh, I know. We're gonna hate the next one too, but we're still gonna be wrong out there. No, you're right.
No, what caught my attention to it was like, on the sideline, what's he got in his hand, in his glass? I've never seen that before, but whatever.
Well, that's why we got our system of checks and balances, because you saw the J.K. Dobbins knee with the two things poking out of his knee, and you didn't think much because you operated on knees all along.
That took a day to have, because you guys were like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, it's just scope portals. I don't care. There's nothing there, And
it's just inflammation poking out of some scope portals. You hear that every day.
Yeah, right. I'm like, that's what I mean. When he said it, I'm like, yeah, that's interesting. Like, he's got holes in his leg, his knee. Like,
well, sometimes some of the most inane comments that I make end up with getting the most traction, because I don't really realize it. I mean, like
Remember the FIFA picture I sent you? I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, I thought this was funny, and then all of a sudden, boom! I saw you tweet it. I'm like, all right, and you got engagement out of it. I just don't think of it, and I just like send it to you. I'm like, oh.
He's talking about that where the entire South Korean defensive team and goalie was last name Kim. They
didn't put the first names. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they didn't put first names and whatever. So and then they had to switch it and put initials.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I just thought it was funny because my wife's name is Kim,
right?
And I figured in this PC world, I really can't get flack. I mean, since I'm Asian,
you got it. Yeah,
I can't get flack for having tweeted.
You were one of the few ones that can be posted.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have tweeted it because I'm not trying to make fun of anybody.
Yes.
It's the tough part about the World Cup. It's making me want more soccer. I'm surprised it's over. We were covering pretty well. Taylor writing all those articles about Paulo Dybala and Benzema didn't come to fruition. That he declined the invitation from the French president. But
even though his club allowed him to go, but it seems like there's some turmoil with him and the team. He just retired from football this morning or last night. So I mean, international football. So I don't know. Your analysis was right because we saw how Dybala came in, right? We were
saying that look, you're on the roster, fly back down there, get inserted with a minute or two left to go. Now you can do the PKs. I assume he's pretty good at PKs.
He's very good. And
France could have used him on the PKs.
We wrote that we might need him for PKs, and look how the game went. Like I said, it was where you would perfectly need someone like him. So, I mean, and they lost. So, I mean, I don't know if he's getting stuff back from his teammates afterwards. Like, why didn't you fly back,
Do you get I get the tremendous pressure of a PK, period, much less in a World Cup.
It's crazy.
I get it. But you're a professional soccer player. I mean, you're supposed to be able to hit. This is a static shot. I mean,
most of the passes they make are harder accuracy-wise and power-wise
like the cross-field
the penalty
crosses
kicks.
That drop in. Yeah, those are harder for sure. Yeah.
I mean, literally, they're more accurate than I am throwing a baseball at a target from my hand from where they are.
Yeah,
right, with their feet.
You're right. No,
right?
They play posts. They play like, hit the post, and they're that good. And you're correct. Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, okay. To me, if you're special like Messi and you want to mess around with juking out the goalie and doing all this stuff,
that means you already got it locked up here.
And then do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, on goal.
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
I saw people talk about it. They try to compare it to hockey as the penalty shootout at the end, but I think penalty shootout is harder for all players because there's some defensive defense players that don't even score goals.
But
that's like you said, this is just a spot kick. Like it's right there. Like
the difference is, okay, there's the approach, you're skating up.
You have to do a little move. Yeah.
There, you're just standing there.
It's a spot kick.
I mean, it's boom. It's stationary.
So easy. It's hard. I'll throw another sport in the mix. Why can't any MLB players lay a bunt down?
Well, the ball's moving.
Yeah, but a bunt's easy. You have half the whole bat to get it with.
I don't know. I've never played baseball before, so I can't.
Well, I would argue, and you know more about baseball than I do.
I played soccer, so I kind of can understand the whole.
Because they're the best players their whole lives, and they don't get taught to bunt. And you could say soccer, you don't practice the PK. I get it, but
not against a live goalie too
often. Are they not taught to bunt?
But that's my point. Why play against a live goalie?
Yeah.
Okay, if you kick to a spot and you hit the spot,
there's no way he's stopping it. Yeah,
best. He's stopping it 20% of the time.
Just because he guessed right.
Best.
Yeah.
If he guesses right and on time, and your shot is a little safer than you want it to be. That's the only way. If you hit your corner, he can't even stop it. So why play against the goalie? Just hit your spot.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
You're totally right.
Right? I mean, if he guesses right and you guess right, I'd say 1 in 5 times, right?
Well, you saw
left, right, upper, lower, staying in place. And there's 5 main spots.
There's a couple they saw that he did guess right, but it still hits off his palm and in. You know what I mean? Just because he guessed right.
So hard,
even if he guesses right, it's 50-50 that he stops it. So it's only a 10% chance that he could stop it.
Right.
Why did 2 of the first 3 miss? I don't understand it.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Let's go to another sport because we haven't thrown enough lately at you.
We're Sports Injury Central. Yeah.
Beast of the week. I got Charlie Woods, Tiger Woods' son, toughing out an ankle injury at the PNC.
Okay, so we were in the room on Thursday or Friday, whatever we were, and we saw that fun video where they said, look, like father, like son, and look at their exact swings. You know, they were side by side, the father swings and the son swings. And we joked around a little bit. He said, well, do they walk down the fairway the same way? And we joked about maybe we need a comparison of down the fairway, like father, like son, Tiger limps. And then Charlie, what happened to his ankle?
I think he heard it on a swing or something, or he might have had it coming in. I'm not sure, but
or is it just a giddy up mimicking dad? And he's
Yeah.
not,
Like,
I mean, was it his right ankle? Same like that, or?
yeah, it was the right ankle.
that's weird.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, look, my Davis, my 10-year-old son, hit a couple of bombs, home runs, and so yeah, he's just like me.
There you go.
Yesterday.
There you go.
That's awesome.
You can check it all out on the website, Sports Injury Central. Maybe we'll have a Tiger preview for the match coming up. So
Yeah,
he's always news.
For sure.
Always news.
Tiger's always news.
Absolutely.
So
And we got the court views coming for NBA Christmas games. We got the SIC insights with all the latest 6 scores and analysis on when you can expect them back, all that stuff, how they're trending health wise. So lots of new features of the website. Check it out.
and you got the new background here with the snow. And before we go, though, a couple of things here, questions I want to ask. One, what the heck with Shaq Lawson?
Oh, with his coat. Oh, he doesn't know cold.
But see, here, I mean, at first I didn't know who it was. Shaq Lawson's relatively skinny. You know, I'm sure Justin will put up the picture.
How many coats was that?
I don't know.
I
A lot.
want to count.
But
it's like the Easter jelly bean thing. Yeah.
But here's the other thing about that. See, people make the assumption, oh, the Buffalo guys like the cold. Shaq Lawson ain't from Buffalo.
He's from South Carolina.
He don't like the cold.
He played there a couple years, but he lived more years in the South.
Yes.
Yeah.
He went to school at Clemson. Yeah. South Carolina. He's not.
And what do we say about the snow in Buffalo? Everyone's like freaking out about the snow. I said, when is it snowing? I don't care if it's 6 inches or 8 inches or 12 inches of snow. If it's a couple hours for the game, the field is going to get plowed and be pristine. I mean, the stands, not so much. All the snowballs and ice balls.
I would say, what do you make of the whole snowballs and throwing them at
Did they not
players and
expect
staff
that?
and all that
Did they not
stuff? Like,
expect
yeah.
that?
Well, here's the problem.
Yeah.
And remember a couple years ago, they invited fans into the stands
Right.
to help shovel.
Yep.
You can plow the field and make the field fine, but you can't clear out the stands that
You
quick.
cannot,
Right? So
no.
then there's all this extra snow.
Absolutely.
And then snowballs, ice balls. Now, the San Diego Chargers, when we played the Giants, Sid Brooks, our head equipment guy, got hit in the head
This was in New York, right?
in New York with a ice ball snowball and was knocked out for 30 seconds or a minute.
Jeez.
Really?
Yeah.
Really.
Google it. Look at it.
That's what we used to do when we were younger. We used to throw a little ice inside snowballs.
Now let me ask
Crazy
you this
East Coast
question.
kids.
You saw every time in that game, whenever the Dolphins threw a pass to the end zone, a bunch of snowballs came in.
Yes,
They were.
yep.
What happens if a snowball hits the ball mid-flight and deflects it? What happens?
Pass interference.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the call? Is it just a do-over? Is there a penalty? Is there? I mean,
I would do over,
I would accept a do-over.
but I think you would have to penalize the team to make the fan stop. So
Yeah.
I think that's what they threatened. Didn't they threaten?
Yeah,
that,
they
like,
threatened a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, and that's when the fans
Yeah.
were like, "All right, this is affecting our team now." You know.
yeah, and that's smart. But then
Yeah.
again, if you're a Dolphins fan, what if you throw the snowball?
What
and
if it's
get
a
I
the-
like
perfect
that.
pass,
Some
he's wide
secret
open.
Dolphins
Yeah.
fan throwing snowballs is like, oh, the Bills guy threw it.
Yeah,
He's
I
got
don't know.
one guy in the middle.
No, but
yeah.
in all seriousness, here's a pass to the corner of the end zone. It's going to Tyreek Hill,
wide
and
open.
a snowball hits it, and deflects the ball.
I think he gets an MLB contract because that's incredible aim.
It is. And power behind it to hit the football.
to hit
Maybe
the ball.
Yeah, but it's some numbers games. There's like
Yeah,
50 people
that's
throwing
true.
snowballs.
One is going to
shotgun approach, yeah.
No, I don't know. I just wondered that. I don't know what the Mike Pereira ruling on that would be.
Yeah.
Remember the Eagles? They threw it at Santa before in little.
I mean,
They do it.
it's like Randy Johnson and the bird.
Yeah.
Do you know he's a photographer now, and his logo for his photography company is him like a pitch hitting a bird? He's like like goes to NFL games. He's a professional.
It's like a dead bird photography or something like that.
Yeah, he doesn't stand out at all.
Yeah. 9-foot giant. Yeah. Yes, he's got good. Good.
You can get the aerial shots from
the bird's eye view. Come on. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, we all good here? Anything else? We've rambled around a lot.
I
Happy
think we hit every
holidays.
sport.
Happy holidays. Yes.
Merry Christmas. By the time we see you again, it'll be day after Christmas here. Happy Saturday football and Sunday football. So Christmas Day, we got all these NBA games.
Yep.
And a Thanksgiving-like slate of football games, right? NFL games.
Yeah.
And then some bowl games sprinkled in somewhere.
Packers,
along the way.
Dolphins, Broncos, Rams, and then Bucks, Cardinals. Yeah.
All right. Happy holidays. We'll see you next week. Pro Football Doc Podcast, Sports Injury Central Podcast. Thanks for listening and watching. And thanks for the graphics, Justin. I didn't realize all I had to do was ask.
It's always that easy. That's it. As I play the music now, and we can wrap it up.
Oh, here we go. Now we got outro music.
There it is.
All right.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.